So we're here, guys. We are here. Popular demand. Where we're after. We did a 5 starter cards on MLS. Video did pretty well. I think a lot of you liked it. And we've had a few requests to do the same for the J League. So we're going to jump into this. It's just starter cards, guys. These aren't things you want to be putting your house on or anything like that. And I'll walk you through the kind of the stats I've kind of used to decide this little list. Okay. In all fairness, I did actually reach out for some assistance from a few guys. I think it was David Peters sent me a beastie spreadsheet. I've not actually dived into it, and I touched out with a few of the other guys in the community that are really strong in this section. But I thought I would just do what I normally do, just find players the way I normally do it, and we'll see how it goes. Later on in the week, I'm kind of batch recording again, so there'll be another video going out, advanced MLS cards, and again I'll do a J League equivalent. And I'll use the kind of resources in the community available to kind of compile that list as best I possibly can. I hope you like the video. If you are new to SoRare and you haven't joined yet, all the links are down below. Get all your free stuff, your free rare, your free coins, all the stuff you need to get started. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and let's get stuck into it. And the first guy we're going to come to is Kenta Nishizawa. Okay, now, whenever I've been doing this, when the J League originally IPO'd, when the MLS came out, you know, I'm looking for players, first and foremost, that are going to cost as little as possible. Are not going to have too much competition on them in terms of the auctions and that kind of thing if I'm going out for the IPOs. If you're going on the secondary market, you know, you'll need to fish about and make sure you get a good price, that kind of thing. But the first thing I'm looking for, number one, is that they're in a prime age group, okay? And as you'll probably know, being a football fan, most players hit their peak, you know, 23 to 28, maybe 29, 30, depending on position. This guy here is 24. He plays for Shizumu S-Pulse. Now, part of the reason his price will be so low, because I'll tell you some of his stats are pretty impressive, is Shizumu S-Pulse are second bottom, and they've had a horrible season. They've not been doing well at all. Okay, so he's not going to be top of the league winning awards and getting a transfer to Europe or anything like that. And again, when I have been buying a couple of J League players I've got, I'm not really overly concerned about that potential for a transfer. I'm more concerned about they're going to play week in, week out, and they're going to contribute to my lineups as best they possibly can. When we look at the guys' SO5 scores, you'll see, and obviously you can see the headline average at the top is pretty good. But for being second bottom of the league, this guy's a 24-year-old midfielder. His stats are pretty incredible. We've got 3 lows there of 2 25s and a 28, but we've got a bunch of 60 pluses there. We've got 100, we've got a 92 and an 86. So the highs are there to be had. Now, one thing you should know about Nishizawa is he has 7 assists, which is the top in the division, I believe. 5 of them are from set pieces. Now, that really caught my eye, because if you've got somebody who is getting assists from set pieces, they are the set piece taker in the team. Dead ball, free kicks, corners, that kind of thing. He's got 3 goals as well, which in 21 appearances, you know, it's a goal in every 7, which for a CM who's second bottom of the league, it's not a terrible ratio. It's not the best, obviously. He plays left midfield, left wing predominantly. He's listed on this as a midfielder. He's 24. He's 5th in the division, so he's top for assists. Let me just double check that. Yeah, so he's top for assists on 7. He's 5th in the division for key passes, and he's 5th in the division for big chances created. Now, between now, point of recording, and the 19th of December, he has 10 games left, and that seems to be the end of the season. So you're going to get, you know, 10 game weeks out of him, basically, in one way, shape or form. And the sort of prices he's at now, I would consider him appealing, certainly. He could be good for a global. It could be good for an Asian lineup as well, obviously. And the sort of prices we're looking at for him, best offer on the market is 0.09 at the moment, which for a player like this is a lovely little price. If you can get him cheaper from IPO, even better. But you then go into next season with a 24-year-old midfielder. He might transfer up the division, perhaps, because his stats have been really good. And if Shizumu S-Pulse, I don't know then the intricacies of the whole squad. You know, is it a strong squad? Why are they struggling? Is it a bad manager? Is it a bad goalkeeper? Poor defence organisation? Could be a number of things. But in any case, players that stand out tend to get swallowed up by the bigger clubs in the division, and you can look at any league in the world that you study or you follow, and you'll see this thing range true constantly. So it could be at a bit of a dud team now, and then you might be crossing your fingers and toes, get to see 10 good game weeks, and then next season he's at a bigger and better team, and these numbers are then accentuated by being around better players who finish the chances. You know, he's 5th in the division for key passes and big chances created, separate statistics, separate tables. But if he's on the same amount of chance creation, but he has a striker that's actually finishing, then it goes from having 7 assists to having 12, you know, or whatever it may be. So, Kenta Nishizawa. The next player we come to is Tamaki Iwata. Okay, now again, he's at a mid-level team, you know, mid-table team, Oita Trinita. And again, if you look at the prices and his average scores, very similar to Nishizawa and the last one. The thing I like about Iwata is at the moment he is actually 4th in the division for successful passes in terms of percentages completed, which tells me, you know, that he's comfortable on the ball and his passing to midfield from defence, he's a centre back, is good. You know, at 23 years of age, he's already racked up 85 senior appearances in the J League for his team. And again, when you look at the scores the guy's hitting for a mid-table team, you know, we've got 113 and a 28. Yeah, there's a few DNPs in there, but overall, you know, it's quite rare he gets below that kind of 48 level. You know, if we look at where the graph's at, the highs aren't too high, but you've got a nice narrow bandwidth of bad results and good results, if that makes sense. And some of these players are very valuable because you can pick them in your lineup and you can almost guarantee, as much as you can, that they'll return you a certain kind of bandwidth of a score. You know, they're not going to just drop off the face of the earth and do terrible. And again, at 23 years of age for a centre back, again, mid-table team, could a bigger team come and get him potentially? Even if not, his scores are good enough for that kind of team that, again, for the sort of prices you can see goes away in auction at, he could be very attractive to get yourself up and running with for a defender. Because some of the defenders, like I've got a guy called Mickey Yamane, and he was mega expensive, and there's other guys, if you really scour this division, there's some players that are very expensive, and to find somebody at this price point that offers, you know, age, number one, you know, is 23 for a defender. He's not quite prime yet. Maybe 24, 25 we'll see a more of an upturn and maybe goal output. He's got 5 goals in 85 games. But yeah, lovely guy as well to get you started for the defence. And again, Sukasa Morishima. Okay, so Sukasa Morishima, 23 years old. Again, similar to Iwata in the sense that he's just under that 90 appearance mark in terms of his career. 23 years of age at Sanfrecce Hiroshima. Sanfrecce now are 10th out of 18. So for the bottom half of the league, they actually have the best defence. They've got the 4th or 5th the best defensive record in the division overall, despite being kind of mid-table. So when you see a team that has a good defence but they're not scoring too many goals, you know that, you know, the midfield are solid, they win the ball, they circulate play well, they control the tempo of the game, and they're just really struggling to find the back of the net, score goals and get themselves a bit higher up the division. Sukasa, yeah, I'm just going to go with Sukasa. Sukasa he's number 10th in the division for key passes, which again, going based on the other guys we've seen, that's not a bad feat to be at, especially being at a mid-table team who's struggling to score goals. He's 5th in the division for possession won in the final third, which I really like for a midfielder. It shows me that he's going box to box, and fair enough that he might not have the goal and the assist output you might be looking for. Like, his goals are roughly like 1 in 10 games over his career. He's only got 1 assist this season, but if he's box to box, he's getting involved in the game, he's winning possession up the pitch, then he's somebody who, you know, is going to be ever present in the team, number one, because you need these players to keep your defence tight and keep yourself with that foundation to build on, and also as well then if they is getting up the pitch and winning the ball in that final third, that's why his key passes will be high, because he'll be winning the ball off players, you know, defensive midfielders, centre backs, full backs, whatever, and then he's quickly playing the ball into his winger, into his striker, into his number 10, whoever it might be. And again, similar with some of the other players we've looked at, the bandwidth of the scores isn't that wide, but it gives you a nice, you know, the lows are 32. I think that's the highest lows that we've had so far in this video. So again, you can almost guarantee a certain production out of him. The highs aren't really, you know, that 77 will be a game week. He's probably got his goal or his assist. But when he's just busy getting around the pitch and winning the ball back and circulating play, you can almost guarantee he's going to be shooting you a 44, 43, 45. And then if the team wins maybe, or, you know, it's a low scoring game, or he gets a key pass out or two, you can get him into that 58, 61, 62 kind of bandwidth. The only unfortunate thing about him as I record now is there's none on the secondary market at the moment, but you can see the auction prices he goes for is pennies. So if you can stick him in your favourite list and maybe snipe him on an auction, at 23 years of age, I don't think you'll go too far wrong. Now, Takashi Usami is probably the most expensive one we're going to have on the list. He plays for Gamba Osaka, who are like 4th now, top end team. And again, you can see that he's not cheap, but he's not expensive either, you know, because I've really struggled in Asia, because I've only got one forward, Ayase Ueda, who is a rotational young striker, and I've won some Asian lineups with him coming off the bench, and he's kind of held me back at some points. And as you'll know, getting a striker that is going to play, I say he's listed as a striker, the guy's more of a winger, that's actually going to contribute to, you know, your scores and try and get your places up, that their investment's worth making on this platform. At 27 years of age, he's at the peak of his powers. He's doing really, really well. In terms of statistics and that kind of thing, he's got 4 assists now. 3 of them are set pieces, which again, I like the sound of, because it makes me think the guy's on corners with dead balls, that kind of thing. Look at some of those scores. You can see why his price isn't as cheap as some of the other guys we've had in the video so far. Also as well, where is he? Usami. Top 20 average rating in terms of the division, so he's in the top 20 in terms of average rating. He's got 2 man of the match awards, 8th in the division for shots on target, 2nd for key passes, that's huge, 12 for big chances created. And I say a 27-year-old forward, you kind of know, you know, the bandwidth down here 32 and 28 are quite low, but again, for how often he's got by them in the last, you know, 30 game weeks is twice. You know, we've got over 93 times, we've got a bunch of 70s, a few 60s, and a lot of 40s, 50s. So he definitely offers you some consistency there in terms of his scoring, and you kind of know what you're going to get in terms of output. So for players like that, I don't mind pushing the boat out price-wise. Best offer in the market is decent now, but again, the J-League only has 10 games left, so your short-term utility is limited. But at 27, next year it'll be 28. You can almost guarantee a consistent path of, you know, the scores that he's had that it will remain. You know, he's at a top 4 club now. You would only expect them to get stronger. But one of the things I like about this guy the most is he's got pedigree. You know, he spent a good portion of his career in Germany, a year or 2 with Bayern, you know, the reserves, and probably played a couple of cup games, and then Dusseldorf, Augsburg, Hoffenheim, you know. So if you look at the guy's track record, he's got pedigree. He's definitely a top end player, and if he's playing at a top end club, you can expect those results to remain fairly consistent, you know. So you can definitely try and snipe him for a bit of a bargain. And then the last guy we come to is Allano, so easy name to pronounce for this one. And again, you know, the main thing that I really like about this guy, midfielder, 24 years old, it's his first season in Japan, coming over from Brazil. The prices you can get him at is pretty modest, to be honest with you. When we have a look at the SO5 scores, you'll see, again, lovely little bandwidth. A few more of those reds that we would like to see, but a fair amount of 50s recently, and a fair amount of 70 pluses, and then a wee 63 there. Kashiwa are moving up the table. They're fighting for the top 4 spots in the now, and this guy's been a big part of it. You know, Allano at the moment is 19th in the division for shots on target. He's number 1 in the division for key passes, number 14 for big chances created. But what I do like, and this is a stat that's a double-edged sword, he's 9th in the division for big chances missed. So if you look at his goal output, I think he's got 3 goals this season or something like that, maybe 4. But he's had a lot of big chances to put away. He's in a new climate, he's in a new team, he's in a new division. You would hope and expect with some of the performances he's got, his confidence is growing, and those big chances he's been missing will soon become goals. He's also 11th in the division for possession won back in the final third. So again, really busy winger, really creative, contributing to both ends of the pitch. And for 24 years old, at the kind of price point that we're talking about, again, I think he's a great starter card. On top of this, guys, this is basically the 5 I was going to run through, but I had a recommended goalkeeper come to me from one of my subscribers, and he was recommending, if you are after a cheap goalkeeper in the J-League, Kajigawa of Yokohama F Marinos is relatively cheap, and you can maybe get your hands on him as well. I've got 2 Kosai Tanis myself. He's 19, plays for bottom of the division, but in terms of goalkeepers, there's, yeah, you can find them for yourself. They're all pretty obvious who starts and that kind of thing. But Kajigawa could be a nice wee cheap one for you. And if you're going for something a bit more premium, maybe something like a Tani, because he's young. If you're new around here, guys, if you like the video, please make sure you do subscribe. Comments down below. Thoughts? Anyone you would suggest in this list is a good starter card, you know, it's not too expensive. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.